like he goes into the bathroom. If it's a number one, then it doesn't take so long. But as soon as it's a number two, then the ritual of the paper and needing to do it in a certain way, and
Yeah.
he has to do it just right for just so long, so it feels just right. And then it takes like up to 4 hours. That's an obsessive compulsive ritual. He comes down to the kitchen. He has to take a piece of paper off. So these are the rituals. And then the threshold ritual is like walk over, walk back, walk over, walk back, walk down the stair, walk up the stair, walk down the stair, upstairs until it feels just right. He's also, there might be some obsessive anxieties related to the with the example you mentioned with the lights falling on his head. Like he's afraid that something bad is going to happen. His movements are not catatonic, and that in many ways what I want to say to you is that is positive news, because catatonia is a severe illness,
Yeah.
and
Oh, okay.
it's not, he does not have catatonia,
Okay.
but and he has this fear, and he has the OCD, and he has autism, but he's very, just from the sounds of things that you've said, he's an intelligent guy,
Oh,
you
he's
know,
very smart.
and it's locking him up. He cannot really get going because he's afraid that he's going to make a mistake, and he stops, and then he does his rituals, and then he might go on to the next word, and then he does his ritual. So OCD is like, you think, okay, people do OCD because they're very anxious. That in part that's true, but it's also a lot of OCD can be waiting for things to feel just right, which is not necessarily an anxiety. It's just I'm waiting for things to feel just right. Um, and when I get that feeling, then I can move on to the next one. I can move on to the next one. And it's taking a lot of time in his mind to get to the point where he feels just right. The treatment, of Michael's difficulties are, number one, behavior therapy. It's not, medication is tricky. For a 13-year-old boy with autism, yes, doctors will say, well, what about Prozac, Zoloft, Luvox, Celexa, Lexapro? Try those medicines. But he didn't even, he reacted negatively to buspirone, Buspar. Buspar is regarded as a gentle medicine.
Wow.
Wow.
So if he has a negative reaction to Buspar, I think that he is at risk of having he's at high risk of having a negative reaction
Wow.
to the SSRIs like Zoloft and Prozac. The thing about his fear, there's there are different ways in which you can help a person with autism sort of manage their fear with medication. But the vast, the most of the treatment of fear has to do with behavior therapy, exposure, desensitization, exposure, desensitization, which is what has happened over the years, that certain things used to scare him more in the past, and slowly he's become less fearful of them as time has gone on. But certain of these, he's still fearful of them as much as he was then, as he is now. So some of them have stayed. Um, the the treatment of the trauma, because he's also prone, he's vulnerable to trauma. Because if he has an experience where he feels terrified, he will remember so much of where he was, what happened, why, and I never want to go back there. And anything that reminds me of that place, I don't want to go back to that place. So that's a form of trauma that he experiences, right? Like post-traumatic stress, which is quite common in children, adolescents, adults with autism who have very, very strong fear reactions to sensory triggers. I would think long and hard about putting him on a medicine, and I'm thinking in my own mind, like, well, which medicine would I put him on? And the one medicine that just to think about is oxytocin nasal spray. Oxytocin nasal spray has the ability to make people feel safer. So it doesn't take away anxiety. It makes the likelihood of him being fearful less likely, meaning that if he goes near that place where he says, don't turn right, he may allow you to turn right. If he goes to the family where there's a blender, he may allow the blender to be outside. He doesn't need to put it in the closet because he feels safer in those environments.
Okay. So that means that's gonna decrease anxiety. One thing takes to another, the other one, right?
This is Libya. I make a distinction between fear and anxiety.
Yeah.
And he has both. But the fear was the one that dominated in the early part of his life.
Yeah.
And now more the obsessive compulsive has taken over in the last year or so. But the fear is still there. So what made you think about catatonia, which is when I hear about a child being so fearful, many children who are fearful in the way that he is fearful and has been fearful, they are at more risk of developing catatonia. There's something about the fear system that can set off catatonia, but he doesn't have that. He's gone into the OCD side. What's really important is what we find out in this MRI. Because if this MRI comes back normal, which is I pray for it, is that we look at the OCD as being something that is at risk. Children with autism are at risk of developing OCD, right? But God forbid that there's something going on in his brain that is causing the headaches and the pain in his neck, and that may or may not be related to the onset of his obsessive compulsive symptoms that started a year ago.
Okay.
Because the fears are, in my mind, they are separate.
Okay.
To the obsessive compulsive patterns that exist and have existed for the last year. So the outcome of tomorrow's MRI, or the result of yesterday's MRI, is as important in helping us decide, if it's normal, okay. There are things that we would approach it differently. If there are differences in the MRI, we would ask the question, are those differences related in some way to the onset of his OCD that took place about a year ago? Okay. I like D'Souza, Dr. D'Souza. So when do you think he will get back to you?
I called them today just to let them know he got the test done yesterday, and she told me as soon as I get the results. So I'm hoping by the end of this week we're gonna hear from them.
No. You must hear about it. You must leave a message for this. D'Souza must get back to you tonight or tomorrow morning.
Okay.
You need to know it's a very stressful time.
Yes, I'm gonna call them back tomorrow.
Yeah,
because by today they didn't have anything yet.
Yeah.
No, we are busy. No.
So
Mikey.
Harumi Janucci is a very smart doctor, and she's a what I like about Harumi is that she's a very good scientist.
That's
And she doesn't, she's one of the few doctors who really knows about pans and pandas.
yes.
You can, in New Jersey, you can see many doctors who claim they know so much about pans and pandas, and you spend a whole lot of money and they do tests and hundreds of tests and you spend thousands and thousands of dollars. But Harumi's not like that. She's a pure, straight as an arrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she knows a tremendous amount.
Yes.
So you're in good hands there.
Thank you. Yes. These are good news.
With me, like where I can be helpful is is a sort of a Zoom conference call with the teacher, the ABA supervisor, the school, the person who's working one-on-one with him, you, both of you, me. We're on a Zoom call and we discuss. That's where I think I could be helpful. Okay.
Okay.
So we bring everyone together and we start talking about this history, and we start trying to make sense, like what is it that works, what doesn't work, how do we desensitize him off this OCD, how do we help him with the fears, all these things, and feel like we have a collaboration. That's the good thing about the Zoom thing,
Yes.
that it's much easier for us to collaborate.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm happy for you to set up with Jeanette, a Zoom conference where we all get onto the conference and we talk about. But I think the most important aspect of his care at the moment is getting the result of the MRI,
Yeah.
following up with Dr. D'Souza, and then letting me know, emailing me the results.
Okay.
Okay? And then the second part is like getting the school conference together. At the moment, I don't want to put any medicine in his body.
Okay.
Okay? And I'm just reassuring you that this is not catatonia.
Okay. Yeah. I wanted to know that. Yeah.
Yeah, those are
That's
good
a
news.
relief. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So, on that note, do you have any questions before we wrap up?
No, my questions were about catatonia, and which, that's a great relief for us because, like you said, catatonia can be, bad, right, for him.
Yes.
But
Right.
my question is, when you said that the fear system is unbelievable affected, and what I understand is he started having that problem with the fear system, that he started developing, his body as a way of defense, let's say like that, they call it like that.
Yes,
He developed thus anxiety. Of course, I am afraid of spiders, so if I see a
Yes.
spider, my body starts shaking, and I start wanting, just I cannot concentrate on anything else but the spider. If I get rid of the spider, my life is back again and I'm okay. So with my
Yes.
son, my question is, because I'm trying to make a connection between that, let's say mental health problems. For me, those are mental because there's nothing like medically so far. Like we don't know anything about the MRI. I'm trying to make the connection between that and his performance in school. He's a very smart guy. Like he can do things like you have no idea with the computer and all that. But do you think the reason why sometimes he's being not compliant is like we were saying before, as soon as he notices he's not having control over what he's being told, he start having those behaviors like standing up, trying to avoid as much as he can, even not reacting to physical prompt, verbal prompt. Is that related to that?
To me, it's more related to OCD than it is related to fear.
Okay.
Because, when I'm just trying to think of an example. Let's say this person, this child who's 13, right, is sitting at the desk and his OCD is about touching things that are getting anywhere near to things that he thinks are going to make him sick, right? So every time the therapist says, come close, point, he thinks like he's going to get sick, so he's avoiding, he's pushing away, he's distracting, he's pushing. So the avoidance is part of the OCD.
Okay.
Because it's a way of protecting himself from being caught up in the OCD, which is I have to wait until it feels just right. I can't go on until it feels just right. I've got to get this on and it feels just right. So let me avoid, because I don't want to get caught up in like making sure that this feels just right or getting things in a sequence that feels just right. I wonder whether that's the kind of thought that is going on in his mind. Like Ed is walking down the hallway. Let me just turn this. Let's see. As he's walking down the hallway, he has to, like, he's standing here. He sort of touches. He gets close.
Yeah.
And he walks this way.
That's exactly what he does.
Yes.
He walks this way. And he walks this way. So he's doing it a certain number of times until it feels just right. Then he keeps walking down the hallway, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So this is, you can imagine, like they were trying to teach him, and he's got all of this going on in his mind. Right? And they're trying to pull out his attention. But in his mind, he's like, does it feel just right? Is it...
Yeah, he has something else, yeah.
So the teacher is competing against all of this that's in his mind, right? And then so she's able to get him out for a moment. He looks, and then he looks back, and then he's like this, and he's like this, and I think there's a lot of kind of repetitive, compulsive mental activity going on in his mind. That's my theory.
And because one thing that is like all this is like he responds very well to my instruction. When I work with him here at home, I sit down with him, I get the material that we need, and I make a videos to the teacher, because at the beginning they couldn't believe he was able to do things that I was telling them. Yes, he can do that, but we cannot have him to do that here in school. So I have to start making videos to show them, yeah, he's responding to me. He's my instruction when I work with him, he's better. He's like, I was telling the teacher, but I don't know why he's not reading that when he is doing that to me. And they're like, no, we're not in that point yet. We cannot get that point, because they're saying a very good, how they call that, motivation for him. And I'm like, okay, then bring a picture of me and show to him that, even one teacher, when he was in 5th grade, he was going to school every day, having this OCD thing that he has to go to the closet where they have the backpacks. He was, before putting the backpack, he was just lying on the floor, making this thing funny and all that. That behavior was becoming a pattern. So I told the teacher, I'm going to go to the classroom next day, and I'm going to go before him, and I'm going to wait for him. Okay? As soon as he throws himself on the floor, I'm going to come out, because I was hiding, and let's see how he's going to react. We did it. And as soon as he saw me, he stood up and he went like, oh no. And then he did what I told him, is that what you do when you come to school? Is that what you need to do when you go? And he was, no. And I said, okay, try again. And he did it, and he didn't have it. The teacher said, stop it. He didn't do it again. So I don't know, maybe he's feeling safe with me, like he knows I'm his mom, right?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I think the next step is the meeting with everybody.
Okay,
so
it's great. Yeah, I agree with that.
Instead of us spending another hour, let's spend that hour just everybody talking and getting to understand it.
Okay.
All right.
So how do you want me to proceed with that? You want me to...
To Jeanette, you go to the school, you get their permission, do they want to be part of it? and then Jeanette will you give all the names and the emails to Jeanette. She will find a time. You all agree upon a time.
Yeah.
She will find the time to slot into my schedule. I will send the invites for the Zoom meeting to everybody. We get onto the Zoom. We spend an hour together on the Zoom.
Perfect.
That sounds
Yeah,
great.
that sounds great.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And I did not give any card information.
I'll email you an invoice. But
Okay.
it'll be for 2/3. The other third will be for the
Okay.
the meeting.
Okay, perfect stuff.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you very
Take
much.
care.
Thank you
Okay,
so much,
thanks for your
Doctor.
time.
That was really
Bye.
nice to meet you.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice to meet you
Nice to
too.
meet you. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
¿Qué tal?